You already have the best content strategy sitting in your camera roll right now. I'm not talking about your tips, your behind the scenes posts, or the educational carousels. I'm talking about your wins. And if that just made you feel a bit uncomfortable and think, oh shoot, good, because you're probably not posting them enough. Hello, and a very warm welcome back to Quiet Confidence. I'm Anita Popper, and if you're an introverted entrepreneur who's been wondering why your content isn't converting the way you want it to, this episode might just change everything for you. We're going to talk about why your wins don't feel like wins and why that's costing you clients. Let's talk about the content hierarchy, because not all content is equal when it comes to actually turning your followers into clients. You've probably been told to share educational content, right? Those tips, strategies, how-tos, and yes, that stuff does teach people and it positions you as someone who knows their stuff. But what it doesn't do is make people think, she can help me. So there's a difference between being smart and effective, and educational content only proves one of those things. Then there's the behind the scenes content, the coffee shop photos, the working from bed today posts, the glimpse into your morning routine. All of this creates connection for sure, and people feel like they really know you, but they're probably not going to be the posts that convert a follower to a client. So the posts with your tips and advice, people save those and they share them and they think, yeah, this is so helpful. But then they go and hire someone else because helpful doesn't make you compelling. But sharing your wins are different because your wins show what transformation is possible with you. And when someone sees your client story, they don't just think, oh, that's nice. They think, well, if her client can do it, then maybe I can too. And that's the difference between giving value and creating desire, which is what we want, right? So why do people actually buy? Well, what I've learned after 6 years in business is that people don't buy information, they buy transformation. They can Google tips and strategies for free, but what they can't Google is proof that the transformation is possible for someone exactly like them. Your sweet spot clients probably aren't asking, does she know what she's talking about? They can usually tell that from your educational content. The real question they're asking is, can she help someone like me get the result that I want? And only your wins can answer that question. So when someone sees your client story, there's a mirror effect that happens. They see themselves in the before state and they imagine themselves in the after state. And then suddenly the transformation that they want doesn't feel like this impossible thing that happens to other people. It feels like something that could happen to them too. And this is what creates urgency and what makes people book calls now rather than waiting till when they feel the time is right. But I know from working with hundreds of you that the content that converts the best, your wins, feels the worst to share. And I get it, because every time you think you're posting about that client result, your brain starts spiraling. Like, what if people think you're showing off? What if you sound pushy? What if someone calls you out for taking credit for their work? So you probably write the post and then delete it, or you add so many disclaimers that the win gets buried under all the apologies. And that's because your nervous system treats sharing wins like a risk. It thinks you're putting yourself out there to be knocked down, and it's trying to protect you from that tall poppy syndrome. But what's actually happening is that you're sabotaging your business growth, because when you're protecting yourself from that imaginary judgment, your ideal clients are making very real decisions about who they want to work with, and they're probably working with people whose results they can actually see. And when you don't share your wins, here's what your prospects see. They see lots of advice but no proof that it works. They see personality but no evidence in the results. They see loads of good vibes but no confidence in the outcomes. And they follow you for the tips, but they're going to go and hire someone else for the results because they love your content, but they don't trust you with their money because they think you're nice, but not necessarily effective because you haven't told them that you are. And trust me, I'm saying this from experience because I've done it myself, and I probably still do it to a certain extent. Like, if you go to my website, all of my wins are buried there, and I don't share them as often as I should. So this is a note for me as well. And I know this is hard to hear, but I say this with love, because every time you don't share a win, or every time you bury results in your camera roll, that's proof that your ideal client can't see. I had a client once tell me that she'd been following me for months, but wasn't sure if I could help with a specific thing. And she said, I love your content, but I can't really tell what results you get for people. And that was like, ouch, right? Not because I don't get results, I get incredible results for people, but I'd been so careful not to sound braggy that I made myself invisible to the people who needed to see what I was capable of. We're all human, I do it too. So how do we fix this? How do we share wins in a way that doesn't make us want to hide under a rock? Shameless plug, get humble brag, which is in the show notes. First, we need to reframe what wins actually are. So your wins aren't about you, they're about the person who needs to see what's possible. And they're almost like breadcrumbs for your ideal client to see that the concept that you're talking about actually works. Think about your role in your sweet spot client's transformation. You probably didn't create their motivation or do the work for them. They did that themselves. But you did provide the framework, the guidance, that belief when they couldn't believe it in themselves. And that's worth celebrating, that's worth sharing. And if it helps, think of hiding wins as being selfish. It prioritizes your comfort over their clarity because your ideal clients need to see these stories, and you're doing them a disservice by staying quiet because you've got something that could help them and you're not telling them about it. So how do we do this? How do we share wins in a way that feels authentic? Start with their story, not your achievements. So lead with where they were before, focus on their desires and their breakthroughs, and your role becomes their supporting character, not the star. So instead of "I helped Sarah hit 5k, try saying Sarah was working 60-hour weeks for peanuts and yesterday she texted me a screenshot of her first 10k month, and the best part is that she's working half the hours. So you see the difference, you're not hiding what you did, you're just sharing her story instead of your win. And also use their words, not yours. So screenshot their actual messages, which you've probably got in your phone already. And that screenshot is going to be full of the excitement and all of that in the moment energy just a Canva graphic can't contain. And let that excitement carry the energy because their voice is going to be more powerful than how you describe it anyway. And focus on the emotional shifts, not just the outcome, because those internal transformations matter just as much as those external metrics. So things like she finally believed in her value is more powerful than she raised her prices, for example. That emotional journey is exactly what your next client needs to see as well, because that's what's going to make them think, if she can do it, maybe I can do it too. So stop hiding your wins because, like I said in previous episodes, there's someone scrolling your feed right now wondering if you're the one who can help them. And they're making decisions based on what they can see. And if they can't see what you're capable of, they're going to hire someone whose results they can see. And if you want step-by-step guidance on sharing your wins without the ick, I've created something called Humble Brag. It's an audio reflection journal that's going to help you process your relationship with sharing wins. And I give you reflections and a space to journal on them. And there's also space to create your very own smile file there as well. I'll pop a link to that in the show notes because I've honestly loved creating it. And I want you guys to stop hiding and sharing your amazingness with the world. So head to the show notes to get that. Until then, remember, your wins matter and keep sharing them with quiet confidence so that you can make a loud impact in the world. Speak soon.